Well, good evening, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. Today you have the Rhino, and we're looking at a beer from Lake Wilcox Brewing Company in Vaughan, Ontario. Basically, if you get off at Bass Pro Mills, you're there. So, this is the Lake House Craft Lager from Lake Wilcox, who are a brewery that's been around since 2015. They just recently opened within the last year, in their brick and mortar building. Yeah, this is 5% alcohol. It's a craft lager. As I said, you all know that I'm not a huge craft lager guy, but every once in a while you find one that's okay. Return for refund where applicable. Ingredients: water, malted barley, wheat, hops, and yeast. In all honesty, I never return cans. They end up getting back in the stream because I put them in the recycling bin. But I never return cans. If you live near me and you are hurting for money, my blue bin usually has a lot of beer cans in it. All for you. You could make $1 or $2 every week. Just come into my blue box. Anyway, not cold, basement temperature. Let's pour it. I'll be honest, I thought this glass from GLB's 30th anniversary would hold a little bit more beer. I thought it would at least hold a whole can with some headroom. I guess it does hold a whole can with some headroom, just not much headroom. Okay, so just like a macro lager, it's beautiful straw gold. It has a little bit of haze to it, though. A little bit of haze. It had some bright white head, didn't last all that long. A little bit of snap, crackle, pop when the head was there, not much now, just a boop, 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 boop. Looks like a beer. Looks like a beer. Can't say it doesn't look like a beer, just I can't say that it is very appealing looking to me. But that's because I'm not a big lager guy. I mean, it looks like a lager. The one thing I would say is it has a nice little haze to it, and I like that. I know that some beer writers are all about crystal clear beers. Some beer writers are all about the haziest beers you can get. I like the pretty much clear, but with the little haze. I really like that look, especially for a lager. I expect a little more flavor that way, but not overpowering and not way too light. Scent. And see, it smells like your average lager. And I mean, that can be good and that can be bad. Here's the thing with craft breweries, and I actually, when we met up with Ray at Lake Wilcox, we talked about this, and I'm like, a lot of craft brewers, in my opinion, don't do a lager properly. They don't do the just golden lager properly, because they either overhop it, or they make it taste way too much like a macro beer. If they overhop it, it isn't what I want anymore if I'm going to buy a lager anyway, not that I normally will, but if the majority of people that go out to buy a lager aren't looking for the most hoppy in-your-face thing, some of them are, but not the majority of them. And if it's way too much like a budget beer, it still bothers me because you're paying craft beer prices for it. You're paying $2.50 to $4 a can, mattering what company it is. I believe their cans are about $2.75, $2.80, maybe $2.90 a can. So in the lower range of the craft beer cans, for this beer at least, for their main offerings in cans, which is great. I mean, that's a great little starting point for a can in that range. Let's try it, though. Cheers. Okay. Remembering that this isn't cold, this is basement temperature. This is how I like to drink my beer, the temperature of my basement. That's not a bad beer. That's not a bad beer at all, and it's a lager. It's a lager done right. I mean, recently I drank the Sociable Pilsner from the Common Good Beer People, and it was the same type of thing. I took a style I didn't really care for. I drank it, and I'm like, you know what? This is the one I could get behind and I could drink. This is something that I could share with my father-in-law. I could share this with my brothers. I could share this with in the basement. I could share this with the guys from the old crew. I could share it with the Reverend. I could share it with anybody. And I don't think many people would be against it, especially if I got it cold. The other guys would love it. But slight sweetness at the forefront, a bready biscuitiness that goes from the forefront to the end and leaves a dry bready finish, and a tiny touch of hops, and a very English-esque, a little dirty-ish, a little muddy hoppy taste. All in all, though, it has flavor, and it's not overpowering flavor. It has flavor that would make a craft beer drinker go, hey, I'm drinking something with flavor. And it has subtle enough flavors that somebody that drinks Coors Light could drink it and go, hey, this is different, but it's not overpowering and it doesn't turn me off. And I mean, that's where I think this beer is great, is because this is a beer that could bring people together. This is a beer that you could put on tap somewhere that doesn't bring in the craft crowd, but could bring in one or two every once in a while, and they'd be happy with this. And if they're not happy with this, then you guys just, I don't know what would make you happy. I mean, would I love this every day? Honestly, if I was speaking honestly, and I even said it to Ray, no, I probably wouldn't drink it every day. But it is a lager I could drink, and I mean, that is all that matters. It's a lager that's drinkable, and it's a lager with a good flavor, and a subtle flavor, and not overpowering flavor, and looks the part of a lager, and smells the part of a lager, and would not turn anybody off, and the price point is not horrible either. All in all, this is kind of what you want. And I mean, it's a safe beer. It's a very safe beer. But at the same time, you need to have a few safe beers to help pay for your more out there beers, and help build the brand and bring people in and make them more willing to experiment. I mean, there are those two ways you can do your craft brewery. You can do safer beers that will bring people to you while making the out there beers, or you could just make the out there beers, and it all matters where you are. But these guys are in the Toronto area, where there's already 60 breweries in the entire GTA. They're in Vaughan. It differentiates them from a lot of the other breweries in the area, because this makes them more accessible to everybody. Anyway, guys, out of 10 on this, I'd give it a 7.5. I could buy it. I wouldn't buy it all the time. Ooh, excuse me, but I could buy it, I could drink it, I could be happy with it. And that's all I want to have, right? Just be happy with what I'm drinking. And this would do it. Thank you, guys. Bye.